snow was coming down hard, thick flakes swirling in the air like a scene from a snow globe. The wind howled, cutting through the trees that surrounded our little vacation home in Colorado. I was only 8 years old, but I remember the blizzard like it was yesterday. My brother Josh, who was 11, and I had begged our parents to let us go outside. The snow was too tempting, too perfect for a snowball fight. Mom had bundled us up in so many layers we could barely move, but we didn't care. We were kids, and the world was our playground. The property was massive, with a huge open space surrounded by woods on all sides. There was a dead-end road that led downhill to a few other properties, but they were almost always empty. That's where Josh decided to set up his fort for our snowball fight game. We had our own rules. 2 forts, 1 giant snowball as the jewel to steal, and the freedom to choose our bases. Josh picked the neighboring property, a place we often played because no one was ever there. He built his fort behind a little wall of snow hiding the jewel. I stayed back at our house waiting for him to blow the whistle to start the game, but the whistle never came. I waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The snow was falling so heavily I could barely see a few feet in front of me. Maybe I just couldn't hear the whistle, I thought. I decided to go find him. The woods were too scary, especially in a blizzard, so I took the road. The snow was deep and every step was a struggle, but I trudged on, my breath visible in the freezing air. When I reached the neighboring property, I looked through the trees. Josh's fort was there, but he wasn't. I called his name, but there was no answer. My heart started to race. Where was he? I crept closer to the fort, planning to grab the jewel and run back home. But before I could, a voice cut through the silence. "Excuse me, are you looking for your brother?" I froze. The voice was a woman's, sharp and clear despite the storm. I turned and saw her standing at the front door of the neighbor's house. She was older, her face wrinkled, her smile too wide. Something about her made my stomach twist. "We're playing a game," I called back, my voice shaking. "Your brother isn't here," she said, her tone flat. My heart dropped. I took a step closer, squinting through the snow. That's when I noticed something in the upstairs window. A face, half covered by a black beanie, staring down at me. For a second, I thought it was Josh, but then I realized it wasn't. The person's eyes were dull, unblinking. I looked back at the woman who was still smiling that creepy smile. She waved me inside, her voice soft but insistent. "Come in, get out of the cold." I didn't move. My legs felt like they were stuck in the snow. I screamed Josh's name as loud as I could, but there was no answer. The woman's smile faded, replaced by something colder. I noticed footprints in the snow, leading to the front door and then back toward the woods. They had to be Josh's. My heart pounded in my chest. Then I heard it. Heavy footsteps from inside the house coming down the stairs. I didn't wait to see who or what was coming. I turned and ran, my feet slipping in the snow. The woman shouted something behind me, but I didn't look back. I just ran, my breath coming in short, panicked gasps. I didn't stop until I heard my dad's whistling from up the hill, the sound he always made to call us home. When I reached our driveway, Josh was already there, standing with Dad. He looked pale, his eyes wide. Before I could say anything, Josh blurted out, "There were people in the neighbor's house. They told me to come inside." I stared at him, my chest heaving. The same thing happened to me. Dad's face darkened. He grabbed a weapon from the house and went down to the neighbor's property while Mom stayed with us. When he came back, he said the front door was locked and no one answered. We went to another neighbor's house and they called the owners. That's when we found out the house was supposed to be empty. No one was supposed to be there that weekend. The cops were called and Josh and I had to describe the woman to an officer. They searched the house but found nothing. After that day, we never played on that property again. The memory of that woman's smile, the face in the window, and the heavy footsteps still give me chills. I don't know who those people were or what they wanted, but I thank God we didn't go inside that house. Fast forward about 20 years and I'm in college, on a ski trip with my friends Jaden, Ryland, and Amir. We were at a massive mountain in Vermont, probably Killington, with 7 ski lifts and endless trails. It was our second day and we were exhausted but determined to make the most of it. We'd been skiing hard, pushing ourselves on the double black diamonds, and even had a few fireball shooters to keep the energy up. At the top of the lift, we were debating how to end the day when 2 girls approached us. Taylor and Devin. They were stunning, the kind of beautiful that makes you do a double take. They said they were bored because the mountain was full of older people, which made sense. We started chatting and they seemed cool. Devin was a seasoned skier, asking Amir all these technical questions about his gear. Taylor joked about our fireball, and we laughed, telling her it unlocked our true ski potential. Then Devin pulled out an unmarked bottle, teasing us for sticking to fireball. We took swigs, but something felt off. I pretended to drink, but I didn't. Something about the whole situation rubbed me the wrong way. Why would these girls be so interested in us? We were just a bunch of dumb college kids. They asked if we'd skied a trail called Devil's Forest, a glade trail that was rarely open. We hadn't, but it sounded fun. They led us to a desolate part of the mountain where we had to take off our skis and walk uphill. Jaden and I hung back, both of us feeling uneasy. The girls were ahead with Amir and Ryland, who were clearly smitten. When we finally reached the trail, it was steep and challenging. We skied down, but at the bottom there was no lift in sight, just more forest. I asked the girls where the lift was and they said it was close. But then Ryland passed out in the snow. Amir followed. Then Jaden. I was the only one still standing, and the girls were staring at me, waiting for me to collapse. I demanded to know what they'd given us, but they didn't answer. I felt dizzy, my legs weak, but I didn't pass out. The girls cursed, saying I must not have drunk enough. They took Amir and Ryland's skis and disappeared into the woods. I stumbled after them, but they were too far ahead. I found my friends, still unconscious, and waited for them to wake up. When they did, we told them everything. We never found out who those girls were or what they wanted. The police took it seriously, but nothing ever came of it. To this day, I don't know what they gave us or what their plan was. All I know is, if I hadn't pretended to drink, things could have ended very differently. Years later, I found myself on a frozen lake with my friends Kyle and Ricky. It was a tradition of ours, walking out onto the ice in the middle of winter. The snow was falling heavily and the moon was full, casting an eerie glow over the lake. We were laughing, throwing rocks to test the ice, when something caught our attention on the far side of the lake. At first, we thought it was a bear, a large hunched figure moving slowly toward the ice. But as it got closer, we realized it was a person wearing a bear suit. He was dragging something behind him, a small black bag. My heart raced as we watched him step out of the suit and start smashing the ice with a rock. We didn't wait to see what he was doing. We ran, our footsteps crunching in the snow. A voice called out behind us, but we didn't look back. We just ran, our breath visible in the cold air. When we got back to the car, we couldn't stop talking about what we'd seen. Kyle thought it was someone dumping trash. Ricky thought it was a body. I didn't know what to think. A few months later, I saw a missing persons report on TV. A child had disappeared around the same time we were on the lake. I can't help but wonder if the two are connected. We reported what we saw to the police, but I doubt we'll ever know the truth. All I know is that night on the lake still haunts me.